Level 1. It starts where motion meets resistance. A calf tightens, a hand freezes mid-grip, a surge of pain stops everything. Inside that muscle, thousands of fibers fire in perfect rhythm until one signal misfires. Calcium floods the cell, telling it to contract, but the command to release never arrives. The muscle locks. That's a cramp, a microscopic collapse. Athletes know it well. Marathon runners dropping in the last mile, swimmers forced to stop mid-lane, legs frozen underwater, construction workers in 40°C heat, their hands seizing around metal tools because sweat has drained their electrolytes. It's not weakness, it's biology under pressure, the body's way of saying, enough. Each contraction becomes a tug-of-war between motion and fatigue, energy against chemistry. Stretching helps, so does salt, but every cramp carries a warning. Muscles are made to move, not to endure endless strain. The first crunch reminds every living thing that even strength can fold in on itself. Level 2. Steel has its limits. Press hard enough, and even metal remembers it's just molecules pretending to be solid. Every bridge, every tower, every aircraft wing is a balance between tension and compression. Push too far, and that balance collapses into a sound engineers know too well: the groan before failure. When a plane's fuselage rips under stress, the sound isn't a bang, it's a crunch, aluminum giving up its geometry. When a skyscraper's frame bends beyond recovery, rivets pop like seeds under fire. The collapse of a building is not sudden chaos, it's the sum of millions of tiny molecular arguments, all ending at once. In 1981, the Hyatt Regency walkway in Kansas City collapsed during a dance. Two rods, each meant to hold a few tons, carried double the load after a design change. They failed, not explosively, but structurally. The sound was bone against concrete. A human tragedy born from math and metal. Steel fails like muscle, by forgetting how to breathe. Too much compression, too little give. Every material has a breaking point, and when pressure wins, the only sound left is surrender. Level 3. The ground beneath your feet is not still. It drifts, grinds, folds. Continents locked in a slow-motion collision. Beneath the Himalayas, India is still pushing north, burrowing under Asia at the rate your fingernails grow. Each millimeter stores energy. Every century, the tension snaps. That's the crunch of tectonics, the planet's heartbeat of violence and creation. In Turkey, in Japan, in California, people live along fault lines that shift history in seconds. The San Andreas Fault moves once every 100 years, but it never truly rests. It whispers underfoot, rearranging landscapes atom by atom until the silence can't hold. Then, a quake. Buildings sway, bridges twist, highways buckle like paper. It's not the shaking that kills, it's the sudden stop. Energy travels through rock, soil, and flesh alike. Underneath, tectonic plates grind, releasing centuries of stored rage. Above, cities collapse in minutes. Afterwards, people rebuild on the same soil. Because where land breaks, it also rises. Mountains grow, valleys deepen. The world remakes itself through compression. Destruction as creation. Every peak on Earth is a monument to something that once broke. Level 4. Glaciers move at the pace of patience. They slide millimeter by millimeter, their weight carving entire valleys out of stone. But ice under pressure doesn't melt first. It fractures. Listen to a glacier long enough, and you'll hear it talk. A chorus of cracks, pops, and groans echoing through frozen corridors. Each sound is centuries of snowfall breaking under its own memory. When ice shelves collapse, they don't shatter like glass. They roar, a sound deeper than thunder, longer than fear. In Antarctica, when a wall of ice the size of a city breaks free, seismographs on the other side of the planet record it like an earthquake. That's the cry of a planet under stress. Ancient air, trapped for millennia, escapes in bubbles, releasing traces of an atmosphere humans never breathed. Each collapse writes another line in the story of a warming Earth. In Greenland, scientists live in cabins built on permafrost that's no longer permanent. They wake to the sound of the ground itself shifting. Snow sinks, ice folds. They measure meltwater by the liter, but they feel the crunch by vibration, the shudder beneath their boots. A glacier doesn't die quietly. It dies slowly, loudly, beautifully, the way a mountain might weep if given lungs. Level 5. Air has weight. We forget that until it moves. A few millibars of pressure difference can build a storm large enough to erase coastlines. That's all it takes, one imbalance. When the atmosphere collapses inward on itself, hurricanes are born. They begin as whispers, a warm ocean, a rising column of air. Then the feedback begins. Heat rises, pressure drops, more air rushes in to fill the void. Spirals form, thunder grows. The crunch here isn't audible, it's visible. Palm trees bending horizontal, cars floating where roads were. The sound of wind passing 200 kilometers per hour. The sky screaming through architecture. In 2019, Cyclone Idai tore across Mozambique. Winds flattened homes, floods erased maps. More than 1,000 lives lost, not to rain, but to air that forgot how to stay balanced. Pressure is invisible until it breaks. When it does, the sky stops being a ceiling and becomes a weapon. Even airplanes, built to tame the air, feel it first. Pilots describe turbulence as invisible waves. Jetliners shudder. Windows creak. At the speed of sound, the air compresses so hard it ignites shock waves, thunder born of velocity. Atmospheric crunch isn't about collapse. It's about reminder that even air has structure, and even structure can break. Level 6. Every planet carries a secret, a war between pressure and temperature at its center. At Earth's core, iron flows like syrup. Temperatures reach over 5,000 degrees Celsius. Pressure there is 3.5 million times stronger than at the surface. Atoms deform, electrons shift, iron transforms from solid to liquid to plasma, all under the same gravity that keeps you standing. It's compression beyond imagination. Matter forced into new states by sheer confinement. But this crunch isn't destructive, it's generative. That molten core spins, creating Earth's magnetic field, an invisible shield that deflects cosmic radiation, protects the ozone layer, and makes compasses point north. Without that internal pressure, life wouldn't exist at all. The same gravity that crushes the core powers the dynamo that guards the sky. But balance can tip. If a planet loses its internal heat too fast, its core solidifies. Its magnetic field fades. Radiation seeps in. Mars is the proof. Billions of years ago, Mars had oceans, an atmosphere, perhaps even rain. Then its core cooled, pressure fell, and the shield collapsed. Solar winds stripped the air away molecule by molecule. The planet didn't explode. It just exhaled and never inhaled again. Planetary crunch isn't about noise. It's about silence, the moment a world stops breathing from within. Level 7. Stars die the way all great things do, slowly, beautifully, and violently. For billions of years, a star holds balance. Gravity pulling inward, nuclear fire pushing outward. That equilibrium is peace. But peace doesn't last forever. When fuel runs out, pressure wins. Gravity begins to reclaim what fusion once resisted. The core collapses in seconds, shrinking from a sphere the size of the sun to something no bigger than a city. Temperatures spike to billions of degrees. The outer layers rebound in a shockwave so powerful it tears the star apart. That's a supernova, the universe's loudest form of silence. In that moment, atoms heavier than iron are born. Gold, silver, uranium, the raw ingredients of planets and people. Every ring on your hand, every circuit in a satellite, every trace metal in your blood comes from one of these explosions. Creation, born from compression. What's left behind is denser than imagination. A neutron star, a teaspoon of it, would weigh 1 billion tons. Atoms are crushed until electrons and protons fuse, leaving neutrons packed like bricks with no gaps between. A city-sized object, heavier than the human race combined. If gravity pushes harder still, even neutrons can't resist. That's when the next level begins. Level 8. Gravity has no mercy and no limit. When a star too massive to die politely collapses, it doesn't stop at density. It falls beyond it. The core shrinks until the fabric of space itself gives way. Matter collapses into a point so small it has no surface, no volume, no definition. That's a singularity. The place where somewhere ceases to mean anything. Around it forms the event horizon, the boundary where escape velocity exceeds the speed of light. Beyond that edge, not even photons can return. Time slows, light bends. The universe itself leans inward. For astronauts approaching one, the fall would feel eternal. They'd see the rest of the cosmos speed up, billions of years flashing in moments. as their own descent slows to stillness. Outside, observers would never see them cross the line. They'd fade, freeze, and vanish into history's longest pause. And yet, black holes aren't empty. They shape galaxies. Their gravity holds billions of stars in orbit. Their collisions ripple through space-time, shaking the universe with gravitational waves. In 2015, scientists detected one, the faint whisper of two black holes merging a billion light-years away. A sound so small, it moved mirrors on Earth by less than the width of a proton. Proof that even the deepest collapse can echo. A black hole is the universe's purest form of surrender, matter giving up every identity it ever had, and in doing so, defining what gravity truly means. Level 9. Galaxies look serene from a distance, elegant spirals, quiet halos of light. But the truth is motion. Every galaxy drifts through space, pulled by invisible tides of gravity, and paths always cross. When two galaxies meet, they don't collide like cars. Stars are too far apart for that. But their gravity does. Tidal forces stretch them, twist them, tangle their spiral arms like ribbons in a storm. Black holes at their centers begin to dance, spiraling closer, devouring everything between them. The Milky Way is already on a slow collision course with Andromeda. In 4 billion years, their disks will overlap. The night sky will fill with streams of stars, glowing like rivers of fire. Over another few billion years, they'll merge into one vast elliptical galaxy, a new cosmic body born from destruction. Some stars will be flung into the void, others will find new homes. Our sun, if it still burns then, might drift to the edge of this new world, a refugee from a cosmic crunch. Astronomers watch smaller mergers already happening at the antennae galaxies, twisted like threads mid-fusion. The bullet cluster, still glowing from impact, black holes colliding in invisible gravity duels. Galactic crunch isn't an ending, it's evolution by impact. The universe grows by consuming itself. Level 10. Zoom out further, and you'll see that even galaxies travel in groups, bound together by webs of dark matter, invisible scaffolding stretching across the cosmos. These are galaxy clusters, vast collectives of hundreds, sometimes thousands, of galaxies moving as one. And sometimes even those collide. When clusters crash, the violence is beyond comprehension. Gases between galaxies slam into each other at thousands of kilometers per second. Temperatures soar to tens of millions of degrees. X-rays flood space. Shockwaves ripple through clouds of dark matter, bending light itself. The bullet cluster is one such scar, a glowing smear of plasma left from two clusters colliding head-on. Astronomers use it as proof of dark matter. The visible gas lags behind, while the unseen mass passes through, warping gravity where no light exists. It's a slow-motion symphony, galaxies drifting through one another like ghosts, their orbits distorted but not destroyed. Stars survive, planets endure, but the intergalactic gas, the stuff from which future stars could be born, gets stripped away. Creation slows. The cosmos grows quieter. Every collision makes the universe a little emptier. Gravity wins the battle but loses its fuel. Level 11. For now, the universe is expanding. Galaxies drift apart faster every year, pushed by something we barely understand, dark energy. But what if that force changes its mind? Some cosmologists believe expansion could slow, stop, and reverse. Gravity, eternal and patient, would begin to pull everything back inward. The galaxies that once fled each other would start to return. Clusters would merge again. The sky would grow brighter, not darker, stars crowding together as space itself contracts. Temperatures would rise. Background radiation, now a faint whisper of the Big Bang, would strengthen to a roar. Everywhere, heat and density would climb, matter collapsing faster, tighter, hotter. In the final moments, the universe would become a single burning sphere, smaller than a galaxy, then smaller than a star, until everything that ever existed returns to one impossible point, the Big Crunch, the mirror image of the Big Bang. Time itself would collapse, moments folding into one another, cause and effect tangled beyond distinction. Some physicists think this could trigger another explosion, a new universe born from the death of the last. Others think it would be the end of everything, a final heartbeat in the chest of existence. The truth is, no one knows which way time will bend. But every cosmological model, every telescope image, every gravitational map, they all whisper the same warning: and expansion can't go on forever. Even the universe may one day remember how to fold. Level 12. If the big crunch is the end of the large, the quantum crunch is the end of the small. At the Planck scale, the tiniest fraction of reality. Space isn't smooth. It flickers, foams, trembles. Particles pop in and out of existence, borrowing energy from nothing and returning it like debts paid to physics. What happens when the universe itself becomes that small? When space and time collapse so far that quantum laws replace cosmic ones? Some theories say everything, matter, energy, space-time itself, will compress into a quantum singularity, a point so dense that the difference between something and nothing disappears. Others say it will rebound, a bounce, not an end. A new Big Bang, a new timeline, a universe remembering itself differently. At this level, there's no up or down, no before or after. The concept of distance becomes meaningless. Reality folds inward until it's nothing but potential. Every law, every constant, every atom rewritten into energy, too small to name. If the big crunch is the universe dying, the quantum crunch is the act of letting go. The final contraction where even information, the memory of everything that ever happened, is squeezed into silence. Maybe that's the end. Maybe that's the beginning again. Because everything that has ever existed, from your heartbeat to a collapsing star, is built from compression and release. Muscles, mountains, galaxies all obey the same rhythm. Even the universe breathes in and out. And if it ever breathes in too far, the last sound it makes won't be a bang. It'll be a whisper, a sigh across eternity, as space folds itself back into the shape of peace.